So it's very natural to move away from suffering, to try to alleviate suffering. All living organisms will protect themselves from physical harm. It's part of our wiring, the innate intelligence that serves to keep the living organism alive and well and whole. We move away instinctively from physical harm or emotional harm. But when this mechanism, intelligent mechanism of protection of the individuated form is hijacked psychologically, so it becomes a psychological habit, one that has taken over most of humanity in its current state, then it serves paradoxically to perpetuate suffering. The habit, the tendency, unconscious, of constantly moving away from this moment, never really being able to rest in the fullness of now. Keeps us in a cycle of suffering, agitation, tension. It may be subtle, it may be obvious. For some, it's anxiety, which is when that mechanism has embedded itself in the body, because the body is a reflection of mind. And for some, it's more subtle. How do we know it's more subtle? There's still a craving for liberation. Liberation from what? Liberation from the incessant movement away from this moment. That's the only liberation there is. So this unconscious movement away from this moment is what causes most of us, most of the time, most of humanity, to seek completeness, wholeness, enoughness. We can call that satisfaction, fulfillment, love, happiness, peace, freedom in things, the things that we experience, the content of our experience. The content of our experience is our physical experience, the body, the mind, thought activity, emotion, feeling, sensation, dreams, hopes, fears. This is all the content of our experience. So we seek that freedom, that fulfillment, that wholeness, that freedom from suffering through the things we experience. And so we seek activities and circumstances and acquisitions, material things, monetary things, recognition, status, relationships. We seek those things, activities, experiences that give us what we think we want, which is usually not what we really want, but a pale reflection of that. So love that we seek from another will be temporary, fleeting. Recognition, success, and so on, security, safety, will not satisfy the deeper longing. It's a pale reflection of that which we really seek. So seeking what we truly want in the content of our experience, feeling good, feeling high, feeling successful, feeling safe, is an erroneous investment of our attention. Now we can speak like this here because that's why you're here. It is not to deny anything. It is not to deny the natural enjoyment of the good things in life, creative things, all the appearances and so on. It is not to deny any of that, but it is not to seek true fulfillment in that. Enjoyment and fulfillment are two different things. At some point, when there is no lasting fulfillment through the content of our experience and all the acquisitions thereof, something quieter within knocks on the door. The call to come home, to true fulfillment. In other words, to stop moving away into hope and expectation and agenda and striving, as if it was some destination, the end, result, peace, happiness, was a destination in the future. And that quiet call comes in the midst of suffering, or in the midst of a kind of inner exhaustion, an inner futility. So we start to turn within. We call that the spiritual path. So we may start to meditate or immerse ourselves in some tradition, some teaching. And this also gives us a sense of progress or a sense of moving in the right direction. But still, there is no true liberation. This is where we are invited from within for a deeper inquiry. Not an inquiry from the mind, the conceptual mind, or the acquisitive self, but a true listening, true self-reflection. If you cannot rely on things, those things being objects, including the object of another, if you cannot rely on that, because all things come and go, or have a tendency to come and go. If you cannot rely on feelings, because you may feel high, you may feel elated, you may feel spiritual, you may feel enlightened, you may feel ecstatic. But inevitably that changes, does it not? You also feel sad, you also feel heartbroken, you also feel whatever. Then you cannot rely on that. If you cannot rely on thought, because there are good thoughts, bad thoughts, dark thoughts, light thoughts. What can you rely on? That is the deeper inquiry. There are many questions or many lines of inquiry that point you to that. But it's really pointing to the fact of being, to the simple fact that the groundless ground of being, which you can't locate anywhere, you can't say it's here or here or here, but it is everywhere and nowhere. It's not an it. So we're trying to use words to describe the nameless, to point to the nameless, the undefinable. But is it not true that the very simplicity and fact of being is unchanging? It has always been with you. It will always be with you. And even that is a misnomer. It cannot be with you because it is you. This is what you are. Underlying all experiences, all movements, all phenomena that play themselves out through you, through thought, through feeling, through sensation. Underneath all that, there is always being. The more you know this, the more you taste it, the more you see it, the more you rest in it, the more you recognize it, it simply becomes or reveals itself or is known as the intimacy with all things. Not the attachment to all things, nor the involvement in all things. Intimacy is not involvement. Involvement is when we want to manipulate, to change, to argue with, to identify ourselves with. No involvement, but intimacy. Intimacy with all things is simply being with what is. And then the light of being shines through all things. Because thought and sensation and feeling and our involvement in that is heavy. It's dense, is it not? It creates a heaviness in the body, a tension in the body, an argument in the mind, a turbulence in the emotions, or a stuckness in the emotions. But being is light. It's not frivolous. It's light. It's the light of being, the open space, the field, the open field, which emanates and penetrates all that is. This is not a state that you need to achieve through 10,000 years of meditation. It's already here. It starts to filter in more and more into your knowing. All we're doing is attempting to touch it because the busyness of the world and our lives seems to obscure it, and our attention is given elsewhere. But I can tell you, when it is fully known and it has penetrated, so there is nothing else but that, then you can carry on with your life, or life carries on through you. But this is what informs you, not your feelings or your emotions or your thoughts or your opinions or your judgments or your likes or your dislikes. They still appear, perhaps not as vociferously, as violently, but they appear. But you're not informed by that. Just as the ocean is not informed by the waves, its oceanness is always the same. The essence of water doesn't change just because the waves are turbulent. Sometimes we just have to understand this here, conceptually, understand it, so that it starts to filter in. But it shouldn't remain as a conceptual understanding. Yeah, so we can use a little bit of logic, philosophical logic, to see into things, the nature of things. But then for that to penetrate your lived experience,